In today's video, I'm going to walk you through how I set my budget up for the month of August. So if you're interested, keep watching.
I rep the water bearer sign, but all the elements live rent free in my mind. Moody.
So first I would like to say welcome back. And if you are new, welcome. My name is Keisha with AV Budgets, and on my channel, I focus on budgeting, cash stuffing, and I am on a journey to pay off my debt to achieve debt freedom. I would like to thank everybody for coming in and watching. And also, I would like to thank all of everyone who has subscribed to my video. Subscribe to my channel. I am so grateful for all of you. Last time I checked, I have 42 subscribers. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone is important. With that being said, what I'm going to do is today is walk you through how I set my budget up for the month of August. So, if you are a first time budgeter, or maybe you need a refresher, or you like to see how everybody else sets up their budget, this is the video for you. What I have here is my budget planner. This is a tool notebook cover that I have here, and I also have it on Happy Planner expander disc. And these are old items that I've had. I've had this notebook for since 2020 or a little bit before the pandemic. And then I just purchased these rings maybe last year. So this is things that I had already had in my stash. And then just to go through my planner again, it is a series of multiple printables from Etsy, from YouTubers here that do budget videos and sell products. So this is pretty much how I made my planner. This cover um, came from a financial planner that was on Etsy. From the website is Blue Aspen Studio. So I bought this probably like in 2015, 2016, and I just keep printing it out. And it's done me good. This right here is my money routine. Like I mentioned in a previous video, this comes from the Organized Money. And then I have a sheet for my financial goals for the year. I have financial goals for the year, but I reprinted this sheet, so I need to actually go ahead on and add those. In this category here, I have my budget categories, and I also have subscriptions and memberships. So I could keep track of all of the different memberships that I have coming up, whether it's monthly or annually. And then here is where I keep track of my bills. So I need to update this for the month of July. But every bill that I pay is listed here, as well as the amount due and the due date. And then I check it off when I have made the payment. So I do have a decent amount of bills that I pay and that I keep track of, but I want to make sure I write everything down. So, really, if I'm giving out tips, my first tip would be to get you a bill tracker. So, it doesn't have to be printable. You can get a notebook, you can write down all of your bills, and then you could just write the months at the top and then just hit a check mark every time you pay it. So if you're a person that typically forgets to pay a bill, or if you wondered if you paid a bill, a tracker would be good for you. Another thing I have is a savings tracker. Right now, before I pay off my debt, I am trying to get my emergency fund up to $1,000. And so every time I have a deposit, I just go ahead on and put the amount here so I can keep an eye on um, the balance in my savings account. I also have a debt list here that needs to be printed out or written out. And then I also have individual debt payment trackers so I could keep track of each debt that I am responsible for paying. And also I have debt trackers in my monthly tabs as well. So what I'm going to do is move to the month of August so you could see my budget here. So here are my financial goals for the month of August. So what you want to do is you want to make sure as you start the month that you have a list of goals that you want to accomplish, and you want to always keep them somewhere where you can consistently remind yourself of your goals. So I have four goals here. I have a savings, a cash goal, a tracking goal, and a debt goal. So I'll just walk you through my goals and why I've come up with these goals. So my first goal is a savings goal, and it's to save an extra $70 towards my emergency fund. So I am trying to get up to $1,000. Right now, my budget is a little tight, so I'm trying to do whatever it takes to get to that $1,000 goal so I can start paying down debt. So I am already putting about $100 a month um, direct deposited from my check in there, but I just want to make sure I have a little bit extra to put in my emergency fund. My second goal is a cash goal. So it's to pay for back to school in cash. So my kids are about to go back to school, and I want to make sure that everything I buy them that I pay for it in cash. So they may not have all of the stuff I want to get them by the time school starts, but they will have everything they need. And this will probably be the first time that I'm not going to rush and overwhelm myself to make sure they have everything they need before, or everything they want before school starts. They're getting a little bit older, they're taking care of their stuff, so I'm not having to buy new things over and over. Goal number three is a tracking goal, and that's to continue to track my expenses. I did good in the month of July. I wrote everything down, gave it a category, and then I am going to sit down and just do an overview of where I spent my money on, where I went over budget, where I came in at budget, so I can, so it can help me better prepare for budgets to come down the line. Goal number four is a debt goal. So I know that I said I'm trying to get my emergency fund established, but I'm starting to get that itch to just want to pay a little bit extra towards debt. So I just want to see if I can put money aside to pay an extra minimum payment to Ulta. That is the first debt on my debt snowball. So I just want to make sure I can, do something to start tackling my debt. The next thing that I do is I make sure that I put all of my bills on a calendar. So if you are a visual person like me, you want to be able to see your month basically. So I will track all of my paydays, or if I'm going to receive any kind of income and the dates that I'm going to receive them. So that is the first thing that I do. The second thing that I do is I make sure I put all of my bills that need, and let's rewind. So the second thing I do is make sure write all of my bills on the days that they are due. And so I don't put the balances here because the boxes aren't that big, but I just want to have a visual of what is due for each paycheck. And so I pay all of these bills all the way up to really this paycheck. I don't count this one because this is just a small income deposit. So I make sure I pay everything from one pay to the next. And then I do the same thing here. I get paid on the 15th. And so I will pay all of these bills all the way until I get paid again from my regular pay on the 30th. And so that's something that you want to do if you're finding that you're not, um, how do I want to say it? If you are not having enough money to pay a bill, maybe, your rent is high and you don't have enough money by the time you get down here to pay this bill, you can, now that you have a visual, you can look and see if you can switch some stuff up. And that has been very helpful for me. Even though I'm really bill heavy here at the bottom, what it looks like, my rent is due on the first. And so that is a significant amount of money. And so I want to make sure that I have the budget to cover it. What I also do is I look at this subscription and memberships that I have here to see if there's anything coming up that I need to pay. So right now it's August and my clear membership is due. And so I made sure I put it down here and I put it the date that is due. And then also I need to purchase travel insurance for an upcoming trip. This is an expense that doesn't happen often. So I want to make sure that I just write it down here. And it doesn't have a due date, but it's something that I need to do before the month ends. So that is how I set my calendar up. And the next thing that I will do once I have my goals, I have my calendar set up, is I will flip over to my monthly budget, but I will stop here. So you can do a monthly budget. You can write down all of your bills, all of your income, and expenses for the month just to have a snapshot of it. I try to do this and it just does not work for me because I will have I'll fill everything out. I'll have an amount left over. It looks good, but going back to my calendar, like I said before, sorry for all of the flipping. Um, my bills are heavier towards the end of the month. So it's like you have to it what it looks like here and what's really happening here sometimes it's just two separate things for me personally for my budget. So I no longer do a monthly budget. I focus on my calendar, and then I do what is called a paycheck to paycheck budget. So let's move little plant guy out the way. So I will focus on each paycheck and the bills that are due on the paycheck that are due for that paycheck, and then any variable expenses, sinking funds, extra debt payments that I want to make with the money from that paycheck. And then I will move to the next paycheck. So that is how I move to that. And in the next video, you will see me setting up my paycheck number one budget for the month of August. So stay tuned for that. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to film it right after I'm finished with this one. The next thing I do in my budget is I will track all of my debts. And so I will put them here from smallest to largest, the due date, what the beginning total balance is, the minimum payments, and then if I pay more, I want to make sure I write it here. And then once the cycle ends, then I will put the remaining balance here and then transfer that over to the next month. So I have an idea of what my debt is looking like. Throughout the month, I will track expenses. So at first I was just tracking like all of my unbudgeted expenses or um, just if I had cash, sometimes I would track that and it just didn't work for me. So what I do now, and I will show you here in my July budget, is I track every last thing that happens, every transaction that happens, I track it. And this is what works for me. So um, I will put anything that I do, the method, if it's unbudgeted, um, and then any income that comes in, I make sure I track that. And if I move that income anywhere, I will write it in my expense tracker. And so that is what I've found works really good for me as far as the expense tracking. I do, when I'm starting out, I will write anything that's auto paid, no matter when the date comes out. I normally just write them in a list and go ahead on and subtract. Like this time I moved over to subtracting the balances. So I'll just go ahead on and just subtract from there because it's going to come out regardless. And so I just want to make sure I have a good um, idea of what's in my bank account and what is, what am I trying to say? I'm at a loss for words today. I've been talking all day too. So I just want to make sure I have money left over to pay anything that I need to pay. And so that is what I will do starting that's what I will do this for this month as well. And so I have 2 pages of an expense tracker. If I need more, what I've been doing is just pulling from these sheets in the back, and then I can always print more because I made this on Google Sheets, so it's nothing to print it out again. Um, at the end of the month, what I have been failing to do, but what I would like to do is a monthly budget summary. So, to do a breakdown of everything that I spent for the month, whether it's bills, it's food, it's gas, it's unbudgeted. I want to make sure I write that down and have it, just a summary of how the month went. So, that is pretty much it. Um, on how I set up my budget for the month of August. If you have any questions, please drop them down in the comments below. I am willing to answer any questions that you have. Um, I would like for you to like, comment, subscribe, all of the things that YouTubers are going to tell you to do. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.